Hey everybody, it's Michael Padone with salesbuzz.com. I just got this email that talks about the 44 most common sales objections, and I thought it'd be fun to actually pull up that list, see what it has on it, and then give you my take on them. So here we go. So the first one says lack of budget, right? It says the number one objective is it's too expensive. So here's the thing. Where in the sales process are you getting this objection? See, most salespeople have been taught to never bring up price until after the presentation, which I think is a huge mistake. As a matter of fact, I know it's a huge mistake. If for nothing else, one of the things when you're doing your presentation, if they don't know what at least the price range is on what it is that you have to offer, half the time they're going to be wondering, what's the price in this? Am I going to be able to afford it? Which means they're not fully engaged or fully listening to your presentation anyway. So I always like to qualify on price with a price range beforehand. Now, before I do that, I want to make sure I'm speaking with somebody that is authorized or has the knowledge to comment on if the price range is going to be acceptable to them. And before I even get to that point, I want to make sure that we agree that there's a problem before I present a solution. So if I do all those things, if I find out that there's definitely a problem, I find out if they're, where they are in the decision-making process, meaning what their role is. There's actually 5 roles. If they're one of the top 3 roles, I can move on. And then I'll pre-qualify them on price. Remember, if they truly can't afford your solution, they're not qualified. A lot of salespeople don't realize that. Right? So let me give you a real world example. Let's say you want a Ferrari, you make the decision on what car you drive, but if you can't afford the payments and the insurance and everything, guess what? Even though you make the decision on what type of car you drive, you can't afford it. You're not qualified. Now that's an extreme example. I'm just trying to paint a picture here. With that being said, pricing is part of qualifying. You don't wait till after the presentation to discuss pricing. So I'm not saying that you give a firm price during the qualifying, but you're going to give a price range that's going to cover their needs for your solution. And you want to make sure that price range is doable for them. And you can only do that if you properly qualify them on their role in the decision-making process. And you only do that if beforehand you make sure that you found a problem, they see a problem, they agree it's a problem, they want it solved within the time frame that makes sense, and they're the right person to be that can make a decision on pricing, or they're one of the top 3 people that can make a decision on pricing. Guess what? If you do that, you eliminate this objection before it ever happens. Problem solved. All right. So if you're getting that it's too expensive, your sales process is the problem. I want you to know that. If you're hearing all the time that it's just too expensive, whether you're getting it up front or at the end when you go for a close, your sales process is broke. What you were taught on how to sell is the problem, and there's an easy fix for it. Next thing is lack of trust. I've never heard of your company. Once again, if you hear this, that means you are going for a close. You're trying to get them to make a commitment on something prior to getting them to agree that there's a problem. If there is a problem that they agree and you've blown that problem up to the point where they need that problem solved, not knowing who you are is going to go away because they recognize they have a problem. They want it solved. And then, of course, if you're during your process, if you show them some examples of other solutions that you solve for other people, other companies or people that had similar solution or similar problems that your solution solved, you'll build that trust there. All right. So now you can get rid of that one. Lack of need. I don't see how this can help me. If you're getting this, that means you did a presentation, you presented a solution before getting problem recognition. Maybe you guys are starting to see a pattern here. Okay. So listen, sales, there's a science, but it's not rocket science. There's a very linear step-by-step process that once you learn it and you learn how to execute it, I call it the sales buzz method. But once you learn how to learn it and you execute it, all these scenarios go away, these objections that you're getting. Again, if you hear, I don't see how this can help me, you offered a solution before you got them to recognize a problem. Same thing with this one, lack of urgency. It isn't important to me right now. Once again, you went ahead, presented a solution, didn't get a firm commitment on a problem. And if you did if you did find a problem that they have, you didn't blow it up enough to get them to bump that problem to the top of the list. Make sense? By the way, guys, this is called Selling 101. Nice to meet you, okay? This is how you really sell in the real world. By doing these things ahead of time and getting these people to convert. Your job as a sales rep is to create opportunities that have a high percentage chance of closing, all right? So with that being said, let's keep on moving on here. Practice after. Let's see, yeah, okay. Let's see what else I have. Another common sales objections. Let's see here. All right, so there's no money. Again, so it's too expensive, no money. We don't have the budget. All of these can be handled during the qualifying phase. These won't even come up. I need to use this budget somewhere else. Again, that means you didn't spend time to find a problem and blow that problem up to get them to recognize that there's a problem. Okay, I don't want to get stuck into a contract. Falls right back to going back to the problem, right? And by the way, if somebody says, well, I don't want to get stuck in a long-term contract, and now that's an objection, how would you handle that if you get that at the end? So let me ask you a question, Mr. First of all, I understand nobody likes contracts. I get it. Let me ask you this. Other than that, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward with us? Nope, that's it. Okay, so if I can solve that to your satisfaction, we can move forward with the order? Now, if they say yes, that's a real objection. So now you can handle it, right? However your company wants you to handle that. You confirm that that's an actual real objection. That's the one sticking point. They confirmed if you can solve that, they're in. Then you just handle it. But chances are you might hear, well, no, I'm still not ready. Okay, well, obviously the length of the contract is not really the issue. Do you mind if I ask what is? And then just shut up. That's how you handle objections, okay? Easy peasy. Let's see what else they have here. We're already working with another vendor. Again, you didn't establish a problem. Most of your clients or most of your prospects that you contact are going to be having some type of solution in place for what it is that you solve. Your job is to uncover what problem, well, you should know going in, if they have these solutions, these are the problems that they have. They might not even recognize they have these problems. So now you have to come in and ask certain questions that get them to recognize that they actually do have problems there. And then you blow that up. And it's not, when I say blow it up, you're not trying to manipulate them. You want to blow it up to see, is this really a problem they didn't even realize? Is it costing them money? Is it costing them time? Which time is money, right? And then you want to quantify that. And then you want to get to the decision. Would it make sense to solve that if there was a solution? This is how you sell, okay? Again, I'm happy with your competitor. You didn't get the problem going. Maybe you can see there's that pattern here. Okay, competitor X says false statement about your product. Once again, I would use the objection. So other than that, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward? Again, it goes back to the problem that you have. And if you can help solve that, then you get them to that point. If they actually said that, one, if it's true that, well, here it says a false statement about your product. Okay, so if it's not true, if somebody's saying that, again, just do the objection handling form at that point. So other than that, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward? No. Okay, so you agree that this would already help you. If what we said was true and it actually worked, then you'd move forward? Yes. Okay, and now you can handle that. You get a testimonial involved, et cetera, real easily. I am not authorized to sign off on this. Okay. Now, when you hear that objection, it's one of two things. It's either the truth or they're lying, correct? It's one of those two things. So if you would have properly qualified them early on in the sales process, right? So again, the sales buzz method, peak interest, gain permission to continue the call. Once you do that, ask your engagement questions to get them focused on an area you need them thinking about, identify the opportunity size, find the pain point, blow the pain point up, get agreement that there's a problem on that issue and that they would want it solved. The next step, once you get them to agree that they want it solved, is to identify their real role in the decision-making process. Like I said, there's 5 roles. If they're one of the top 3, then you move on to identifying their time frame for solving that solution and what does their ideal solution look like for solving it. And then if they're one of the top 3, but not the number one person that makes the final decision, but they have a voice in it, then you can simply say, when it comes to your so-and-so, your manager, your boss, your partner, whatever, other than price, what's most important to them when solving it, right? So you get some intel on that. And then you go, okay, and if we could solve it, and based on what you told me, your price is in between this and this, is that doable for you? If they're one of the top 3, they should be able to answer that, right? If you do that process, you're never going to hear, I'm not authorized to sign off on this. So you won't be taken by surprise. Same thing with, I can't sell this internally. You're speaking to the wrong person. You didn't properly qualify them. Okay, the economic buyer isn't convinced. Okay, that goes back to qualifying. You should have found out who else is going to be involved in the decision-making process besides yourself. Again, that's a sales question. By the way, I'm not coming up with stuff that's like, wow, advanced sales training. This is sales 101. Most salespeople don't ask these questions, though. They don't know what place, they don't know the questions. They don't know when to ask them or how to ask them or what to do with the answers. This is why the sales team is struggling. You guys need to go back to basics. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and they go, oh, do you have advanced sales training? Well, let me ask you a question. Is your team hitting numbers? Now they're struggling. Okay, they don't need advanced sales training. Advanced sales training is for people that are crushing it and they want to squeeze that little bit of extra juice. So then we need to analyze what's going on there and see if we can fine tune it even more. If you guys are falling below your revenue numbers and there's some uncomfortable conversations are starting to happen, it's because the sales team doesn't have the basics. These are basic sales questions that everybody should be asking. I don't care what industry they're in. All right. We're being downsized, bought out. Again, part of qualifying. Okay. And just because they're being bought out or downsized, does that really mean that the deal is it's a killer of the deal there? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But again, that's qualifying. At least you know. All right. What else do we have here? There's too much going on right now. Okay. Well, let me ask you guys this question. If you get that objection, what step in the sales buzz method do you think you missed? Oh, wait. How many of you said problem recognition? Bingo. That's why it's the first step in qualifying, to get problem recognition. Okay. I'm part of a buying group. Okay. You shouldn't be finding this out at the close. If you properly qualified them, you would have found out who else is involved. You would have found out what their role is, and then you would have taken the right steps to get those other people involved. All right. I've never heard of your company before. Falls back to problem recognition. It really does. Because if you get a problem recognition, And then once you find out once they find out that there's a problem that they have and you can help solve it, this is going to go away a lot. And even if it comes up, you can still go to the objection form. So other than that, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward? And you just handle it from there. Okay. We're doing great in this area. Okay, that's part of qualifying. Your job is first to see if does a problem exist. You know, your job as a sales rep is not to close every lead you come across. Your job is to close as many qualified prospects as fast as possible. And for them to be qualified, they have to have one of the factors of being qualified is there a problem that they're currently existing that you can help them solve? And it's your job to uncover if that problem exists. Okay. We don't have the business plan. I've never heard of that. And now they're grasping as far as I never heard of that. But again, if you uncover a problem, this objection goes away. It's not important right now. Guess what? You uncover a problem, this objection goes away. I don't see what your product can do for me. Want to take a guess? Uncover a problem, then show them how and then properly qualify them. This objection goes away. I don't understand your product. Okay. That's a problem during the presentation phase. One of the things I like to do, one of the qualifying questions I like to ask once I get problem recognition, I identified their role, I get a green light on they're the right person to be speaking to or they're part of the decision-making process, etc. I like to find out what does their ideal solution to this problem look like. This way, when I get that feedback, when I give the presentation, I can focus on those areas. I don't get this objection, okay? I hear complaints about you from company XYZ, okay? If this is the second time something like this came up, first thing I would do is this true? Do you work for a company that has these type of issues? And if so, leadership needs to fix them right away. So if you had those and they were fixed, you could simply say, listen, other than that, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward with us? Nope, that's it. Okay, so if I can handle that to your satisfaction, you're ready to move forward today or now, whatever you want to say, right? And then if they go, yeah, and that really is the objection, then you say, listen, you know what? You're right. We did have those issues. Going to own that. And you know what? We listened and our leadership team fixed it. And let me tell you the results our clients are getting who give us a chance to come back on board. And we're willing to earn your business, but here's the results you're going to, that a lot of our clients are going to get. And I think you can get them too. All I'm asking is just to give us a chance. Fair enough? When you handle that. All right. We don't have the capacity to implement this product. Again, this goes back to qualifying and finding out how big of a problem this is and building that problem up and then finding out their time frame. You can see all of these objections you're getting at the end, right, is that you are not properly qualifying. You don't have a systematic process for asking questions that would eliminate a lot of these or uncover them early on. Okay. Your product is just too complicated. Again, that's more of a presentation thing. If you would have asked what's most important to you, they might have said ease of use, things of that nature, and then you could have streamlined it and focused it on that. Or you could have, if your solution really kind of is complicated, but is the problem big enough and is it worth solving? Again, you do the objection handling formula if that's a real objection, and then you can go ahead and handle that accordingly. You don't understand my challenges. I need help with X, not Y. Again, it's a sales rep that just went ahead and just trying to push their solution without making sure that there's a problem to be solved that they can solve. That's on the sales rep. All these are on the sales rep, basically. You don't understand my business. Once again, same answer as what I just gave for 26. Your product doesn't have X feature and we need it. Again, that's part of qualifying. Guess what? If you would ask what's most important to you in selecting a solution to help you solve this, you would have found that out. And guess what? Maybe you don't have that solution, right? That you don't have that X feature, but you would have uncovered it then. You wouldn't have wasted your time doing a presentation, and you would have built trust by going, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Do you mind if I ask why X is so important to you? And then get to seek to understand. And then you could say, you know what? I don't have a solution that does that solves it that way, but I do have a solution that's different that will still solve that for you. Would it be okay to share that with you? Would you be open to that if it still solved the problem, even if it wasn't the way you wanted? Right? And then they're like, yeah. And now you can customize your presentation around that. Again, but you have to ask these questions and you want to be so fluid with them. That's why it's so important to understand what is the sales stages, each stage, what are we asking and why? And then how do they all connect? This is how you become a top sales rep. All right. We're happy with the things are. You didn't get problem recognition. I don't see a potential ROI. Didn't get problem recognition. It's just a fad. Never heard that objection before. But again, if you found a problem early on, this objection would go away. Okay. Your product doesn't work with our current setup. Again, that goes back to the qualifying. You ask what's most important to you. You find out about how their operations work, and then you would have been able to handle this early on. Your product sounds great, but I'm too swamped right now. Anybody want to take a guess? Didn't get problem recognition. All right. Click. So somebody just hung up on you. Your opening value statement's a problem. What you said after hello, my name is. Now, we're always going to get, you make 1,000 sales calls, you're going to get somebody that's just going to hang up on you once in a while. But if you're getting it more often than not, your opening value statement is the problem. What you say after hello, my name is causing the issues. You need to learn how to create an opening value statement that's going to be winning for you. All right. And it's not that hard. Again, the sales buzz method, the course that we have actually shows you step by step on how to do that. As a matter of fact, I even think that course is free on when somebody requests a quote from us, that they can get access to it that way. I'm busy right now. Once again, you're not piquing their interest. I'm not interested. You're not piquing their interest. All of these objections here means that you're going into the call, you're starting the call, and you're not piquing. They're actually literally telling you, I'm not interested. You're not piquing their interest in the first few seconds of a call. That's why the sales buzz methodology is step one: pique interest. What you say after hello, my name is, that first 5 to 15 seconds after hello, my name is your chance to pique interest. There really is. There's a formula that'll do this for us. Actually, there's 3 of them that I use, 3 different formulas based on the scenario. And you just plug and play your vertical in there. It really is. It's not that hard once you understand what the objective is. When I'm picking up the phone, before I pick up the phone, the first thing that I want to do is, in my mind's eye, is like, let me just call to see if I can help this person. That's my mindset every time I pick up the phone. Let me take away all the pressures of the world, closing deals and all that stuff, or inside or outside sales pressures, meaning what I meant to say is personal or business pressure. Put all that stuff aside. I got to get focused. Let me pick up the phone. My mindset, let me just see if I can help this person. So if I have the right mindset, my tone is going to be correct. I already know what to say. I know ahead of time before I pick up the phone. I'm not a captain wing it. I know if the prospect answers, I'm going to say X. If I get gatekeeper, I'm going to say Y. If I get voicemail, I'm going to say Z. I have it all planned out, so there's no call reluctance. And when I call, again, my first objective is pique interest. If I can't pique interest, nothing else matters. So again, that's number 36 is your opening value statement. 37, same thing. You're getting that, just send me some information. You didn't pique interest, and you probably did a mini data dump, and that's why you're hearing that. Again, call me back next quarter. Either you didn't pique interest if you're getting this right away, or if it's out of the, if you got past the opening value statement and you started to probe on them, but you didn't get problem recognition first. Your probing should be uncovering a problem first, and not just to the point where you see it, but they have to see it, and they have to say that they recognize it, and yes, that's an important thing, they want it solved, right? How did you get my information? Means, again, if you hear this, if you do 1,000 phone calls, you might hear this once. Out of 1,000, I wouldn't even worry about it, right? But if you're hearing it often, what you're saying after hello, my name is raising their antenna, meaning that it's raising their red flags is what I meant to say, right? Rather than their antenna of hearing what you want, what you're calling about. You want to raise the antenna, pique their interest, not raise red flags. If you're hearing this often, what you're saying and how you're saying it after hello, my name is causing the problem. Okay. I hate you, man. I love you, brother. No worries. Have some prayers for you. Not a big deal. Hang up, move on. Because I never get that, right? All right. I'm not responsible for making these decisions. This goes back to prospecting, right? And properly qualifying before you move on. Does your product do X, Y, and Z? Okay, it depends on where you get this. This could be a buying signal. This could be a blow off. It also depends on where you are in the sales process. Now, let's say you're not even done qualifying them and they say, does your product do X, Y, Z? And let's say it does. One of the mistakes you don't want to make is to jump right to the presentation. Go, yes, it does. Let me share all this stuff with you, because you thought it was a buying signal, and now you're excited. You go ahead and do this presentation, and you go for a close. You go, okay, sounds good. I don't make the decisions on this, or I don't have we don't have the budget for it right now. And they could be lying, but you skipped so many steps because you thought it was a buying signal, and you launched right into the presentation. You have to know it's as if you were on first base, and instead of going to second, you tried to steal third by running across home plate, across the pitcher's mound. Right? You can't do that. Even if you get that question, you want to make sure you follow the proper steps. So if they go, is your product do X, Y, Z? Do you mind if I ask how important that is to you? Or, that sounds pretty important to you. Do you mind if I ask why? Well, blah, 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 blah. Maybe they don't want that, right? You could have misheard it or misunderstood it. Maybe they asked, is your product do X, Y, Z? And you go, yeah, it absolutely does this. Well, we don't want something like that. We had something like that before, and it just didn't work for us. Now you're stuck. So if they go, does your product do X, Y, Z? That sounds important to you. Do you mind I ask why that is? Well, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now it could go either way. It could have, we don't want something like this, or we really need something that does this. Okay, good. And now you have it. You know what? If you don't know the answer, I'll check into that. Or if you do that, but it's not the way they want it, then you could go back to that other solution I gave you earlier. So, you know what? So what are we trying to accomplish with this? Okay, so if I can help you solve that problem with another solution, would you at least be open to hearing about it? Well, sure. So peak interest, guard comes down, and now you have the ability to sell them on your solution. But we don't want to jump to that yet, because depending on where we got that question is going to depend on where we are in the qualifying process. We got to finish the steps. Okay. Sorry, I have to cancel. I'll get back to you with a better time. Listen, that's just going to happen. If you get that email, like you have it scheduled, say, sorry, I have to cancel. I'll get back to you at a better time. No problem. Is this something that just got totally knocked down a couple notches? Or is this still a top priority and we just need to reschedule for in the next couple of days or so, right? I'm assuming this is like through an email, or if you call them and they say this, then I would still handle it that way too. You want to get that temperature gauge on where things are. And if they go, yeah, it just got knocked down a couple of times, no problem. I'll send you an email, so we can reschedule when you're ready. And if for some reason, pain point 1, 2, and 3 becomes top priority again, by all means, contact me sooner. I'll be more than happy to help you. So what you're doing is you're planting that seed, you're re-agitating that pain, re-scratching that itch, to get them to come back up. All right. Last one. Hello, you've reached prospect's name. Okay, great. So just know how to leave a voicemail. Duh. Leave a voicemail that piques interest and gets them to want to call you back. A lot of times I might say, hey, let's just say I'm calling somebody, they're a sales director. I'll say their name is, hey, John, this is Michael Pedone with salesbuzz.com. Listen, the reason for my call, I specialize in helping outbound sales teams overcome call reluctance. And the majority of my clients increase their sales by 20% in the first 30 days. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm about to send you an email. Look, if you like what you read and you decide you want to have a further conversation, just reply to the email, or you can give me a call at 888-264-0562, extension 400. Again, it's Michael with salesbuzz.com, 888-264-0562, extension 400. It's 9:35 a.m. Eastern time. I'll have that email to you here in just a second. If you don't see it, please check your spam folder. Thanks. And hang up. I get tons of callbacks and email replies that way. Cool? All right. The whole key is, we call it the Sales Buzz method. It's a step-by-step process. It's just sales 101 to me, right? You got to pique interest, gain permission, ask your engagement question. You want to follow this plan. And once you learn how to do it, not only will these objections go away, but you're going to start having better conversations.